Welcome to Globevisa's pioneering series of Meeting Pros. I'm your host, Ivy. Today, we are honored to have invited Mr. Michael, Managing Director of the Investment Banking Division at Fidelity Capital, to discuss with us the latest policy on New Zealand immigration and relevant investment opportunities. As an important partner of Globevisa, Fidelity Capital has been committed to providing professional investment services of high net worth individuals around the world. Michael, thank you very much for joining our interview today. First, could you please briefly talk about yourself and Fidelity Capital?
Thank you, Ivy, and thank you for the warm welcome. And it's a real pleasure for me to be here today. Fidelity Capital, as you mentioned, we are a specialist investment advisory firm, and we very much focus on the migrant investment capital. We have managed over the years over $800 million of migrant capital into New Zealand. We have our own dedicated and approved fund under the AIP program for New Zealand. We're also very unique in that we also work with a number of other leading New Zealand companies and help them receive their approval for AIP accreditation in order to receive direct investment funds from approved migrants. So we very much work very closely with our international partners as well as the local business community and local government in New Zealand.
So Michael, let's dive into New Zealand's new investment immigration policy. Since the AIP visa, it started on April 1st this year, it has lowered the bar for investor, no language test, and simpler investment rules, and a minimum 21-day residency requirement. Against a global backdrop of tightening immigration policy. And so many are calling this a new golden age for New Zealand. So from your perspective, as a financial expert, what's your take on this new policy? And what does this move signal to high net worth investors globally? And do you think there is a deeper strategy play here by the New Zealand government?
I don't speak for the New Zealand government in terms of their strategy, but we do have some observations around why they're doing this. As far as a golden age for New Zealand, the timing in terms of being open for business is fantastic for New Zealand. The principles of Fidelity Capital, we've advocated for a change in the traditional or historic investment migrant programs in order to enable funds to flow into more useful and productive sectors. So we're very supportive of this. We feel that the new policy offers tremendous choice to migrant investors, and I guess our challenge from the New Zealand side is to deliver choice, control, and consistency in terms of what opportunities they can invest in. From a New Zealand government perspective, this really fits their strategy for encouraging capital into New Zealand, but more than just capital. New Zealand clearly, as a small country, we need and require capital to deliver infrastructure and help business and help the economy. But more importantly, or just as important, is the expertise and networks that the migrant investors bring to New Zealand. We think the language requirement change has really opened the door, and 3 weeks over 3 years for investors we think is very manageable, and that makes it a much easier proposition for migrants from wherever they are in the world to meet their immigration requirements.
The initial data on New Zealand's new visa is very telling. We have seen 308 applicants globally, almost evenly between US at 129 and Asia at 125. So if you drill down into those Asian applications, the picture is clear. We can see interest from Singapore with 17 and 5 each from South Korea and Vietnam, with a combined 98 applications from mainland China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Based on this data, how significant do you believe the Asian market, and especially the Greater China region in particular?
So the role of Greater China for this program, we think, is just starting. We would expect to see those numbers change significantly in terms of the weighting. The US numbers were very much driven initially by the anti-Trump sentiment in the US, or the uncertainty. So we saw a lot of initial interest there, but that we feel, or it looks like it is tailing off according to the data. We are seeing a lot more of the the patient investor from Greater China looking at this program, and after receiving good advice from their immigration advisors, the ones that we're talking to, that they have a long-term view of not just investment, but the role of a New Zealand permanent residency has for them. So we think that is only going to increase. And you have to remember that as a country, New Zealand has very, very close links in terms of Greater Asia, in terms of trade and relationships for many years. So there feels like there is a natural synergy with the migrant investors coming to New Zealand, because they do see that as an opportunity, and it is a good place to live and raise a family.
Beyond the appealing of the investment policy, what aspects of daily life in New Zealand do you find are the biggest draw for foreign people? And since you have personal experience there, so could you perhaps share a story with us, something that gives a real feeling for the lifestyle and what makes the country so special?
Look, New Zealand really is a unique country.
Yeah.
Personally, I've been very fortunate to have lived and travelled to many countries around the world. I'm the son of immigrants to New Zealand.
Yeah.
So they came to New Zealand many years ago to build a new life for their children, and that was based around good quality education, good stable government, good democratic way of life, and a beautiful countryside. So that, from my perspective, that's tremendous. Our founding partner, Eric Wei, he was born in China. He moved to New Zealand with his family and parents to attend high school. So he also has developed that relationship and understanding of being a migrant to New Zealand. So there is a global appeal to New Zealand in that it's very open, very egalitarian society. So there is an opportunity that you can pretty much do whatever you like. And of course, with the New Zealand residency or citizenship, it does open the door to be able to travel and explore different parts of the world. My oldest son is in North Carolina in college playing baseball. So all the way from New Zealand, you have that opportunity and ability to do whatever you like.
Okay, another good point. New Zealand's PR is literally permanent return visa, right? It's very rare in the global immigration sector. It means that once permanent residency is attained, there are almost no residency requirement anymore. So in your opinion, does this unique NZ policy truly enable freedom of status for investors?
100% correct. What it does is it provides you the same footing and status virtually as a New Zealand-born citizen. Now, the big challenge or issue that needs to be addressed for migrant investors is that they have typically made their wealth and fortune in other countries, and they hold assets and wealth in other countries. So the question of how to best and most efficiently manage your tax becomes more important for a migrant investor than for a New Zealand citizen. But the reality is, once you have permanent residency and you're on that pathway to citizenship, you can pretty much do whatever you like. And that is really the New Zealand promise, I guess.
So that means we can get 100% freedoms.
Correct.
Once we get PR.
Correct. You can vote in local government elections if you want to. But yes, you have complete freedom in terms of your rights as any other citizen.
So Michael, let's talk about another unique advantage New Zealand offers. It is special relationship with Australia. Essentially, New Zealand citizenship opens the door to Australian residency and eventually citizenship there as well. So based on your own experience, how simple is this in practice? And more importantly, is the key reason you see Chinese investor or other investor from other countries choosing New Zealand over other countries?
The first part of your question, the answer is it is incredibly easy. It's as easy as it was to travel from Hong Kong to Shenzhen this morning.
Yeah.
That's how easy it is.
Oh, really?
But not as efficient or quick. It's a 3-hour flight to Australia. But it is a very, very appealing benefit to some. New Zealand and Australia have a sort of big brother, little brother relationship. So it is, the door is open. My cousins arrived in New Zealand 25 years ago. They received their permanent residency and citizenship, and then they moved to Melbourne and live happily ever after. So it is very simple to do.
Yeah.
In terms of the AIP program, the government is fully aware of this, and it is not an issue that after 3 years you receive your residency, you have your capital and you want to leave. That's absolutely fine. But I will say, we recently met a Vietnamese AIP migrant, came to New Zealand. He sat down with us and he said, look, I'm only here to park my money for 3 years. I'll put my money in your fund, and when I get that money back, I'm off to Australia. He spent 3 weeks in New Zealand and came to see us before he left, and he said, I don't think we'll do that anymore. We're just going to move to New Zealand. We love it so much.
There are a lot of investment choices under the AIP visa category. The latest data shows nearly 80% choose the growth category, 5 million New Zealand dollars category. And the vast majority of them are using managed funds. Your firm, Fidelity Capital, is a leader in this space, and your sustainable energy fund is a popular government-approved option. We know this fund focuses heavily on bonds from New Zealand's power grid companies. Could you walk us through the strategy behind that choice? And what makes investing in the national power grid such a unique and advantageous approach for the immigrant investors?
The fund was specifically designed for migrant investors who have a focus on capital preservation and liquidity. So want to be able to park their money, they know they can get it back, and they know that it is safe. So that is really what has helped us design this fund. Why did we choose the electricity transmission sector? So this is just the transmission lines. This is not generation, this is not retail. This is just from generation to the main grid. There is these companies, there are 29 in New Zealand plus Transpower, which is the national grid. So our objective is to place money with them on a 3-year fixed term. They are virtually monopolies in their own region, so they have zero competition. They are locally owned either by local government or central government or community trusts. So they are an essential service. Why do we feel this is a valuable investment for migrant investors? Is because the New Zealand grid and the whole New Zealand economy is moving towards decarbonisation and more electrification. All of our infrastructure and network needs to be upgraded over the next 5 to 10 years in order for us to meet our carbon zero target. So although we have high renewable energy, we need to be able to improve the transmission capacity to bring on more distributed generation. So these are very, very well-established, well-run organisations, but there's only Transpower who have a public bond and who have a public bond offering. Everyone else is just borrowing funds from banks. So we are in essence competing and offering a very competitive rate for the lines companies for a fixed term, which appeals to them, and they can do that in order to improve their capacity in transmission lines in order to allow decarbonisation, and these are all part of a green carbon or green funding program. So it meets a number of the different criteria we think are of interest and value to both the migrant and of course to New Zealand and our economy.
And in today's market, conservative is a word that investors love to hear because it means stable. How do you generate about 5% return while remaining so conservative? And the second, how do you answer the number one question every investor has? How can I be sure my money is safe and that I will get it back at the end of the investment period?
So in essence, the rate we can offer is below the current cost of borrowing for the existing lines companies. And we have a very low cost of borrowing in terms of Fidelity Capital. So our cost to lend to the lines company is much lower than anyone else can offer to them. Plus we don't charge the lines companies any facility fees, any ongoing fees, any swap fees. It is just the interest rate fixed for 3 years. So that in itself saves potentially 20 to 80 basis points for the borrower. So that is why it is also appealing. The second part of your question in terms of how do we ensure that they get their money back? Well, these are all the information for these companies is public. Their accounts are public. Their financials are audited and publicly available. And part of that, for example, if we take Transpower, the national grid, they actually list the repayment dates for all of their borrowing over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years going out.
Even 10 years.
Even 40, they have a 40-year bond with Switzerland, by the way. So they have all of these repayment dates in the future. Now, the beauty, because it's such a highly regulated industry, their return is governed by the Commerce Commission and the Electricity Authority. So they know how much money they're going to make every year for the next 5 years. They know what return they can make on that, on their borrowing. Each investor has their own account. So if you're one of our investors, Ivy, your $5 million you have your own account, and you can see that it is part of a placement of maybe 50, 70 or $80 million with Transpower. And you can see the start date, the maturity date, the interest rate, when we pay you your coupon every 6 months. You can see all of that, and it is very, very transparent. It's not commingled with anyone else's money. It's not like the case where you buy units in a trust or units in a fund. It's completely individualized to the investor.
I know that the fund, it distributes dividends semi-annually. And for many investors, it means a predictable, stable cash flow. So in your view, how important is that feature for new immigrants? Does having this kind of regular return help them better plan their new lives and careers in New Zealand, especially in those early years?
That's a very, very important question. So what it does is it provides that certainty of when the coupon is being paid. So that's always good to know. But it also helps those that in terms of their planning when they actually move to New Zealand. But having that certainty allows them to plan not only for their lives if they're in New Zealand, or if they send their children to school to New Zealand. It allows them to have some local revenue. It also helps them with their tax planning and estate planning with how it fits in the rest of their portfolio. So we think it's important. We hear that from a lot of our investors that it makes their life a little bit easier.
Fidelity Capital and Globevisa are key partners. So Michael, in your opinion, what respective strengths do Fidelity Capital and Globevisa leverage in this cooperation?
We are not immigration advisors. We do not provide any advice to migrants on their immigration. So it's really important for us, and this is why we like Globevisa so much, is that we know that your clients have had very good advice, the very best professional advice. They understand the process. They understand what's required in order to meet their immigration requirements. That might not seem very special, but from our experience it is, because not every immigration agent is the same. So we are very clear that when we're dealing with a Globevisa client, there's a very consistent level and high level of knowledge, and that gives us a lot of comfort that we can actually talk through the investment part of that without having to worry about what they have been told by their immigration agent. And we believe we provide them a high quality service and good investment advice. And all the time we know that their immigration process will run smoothly, and it will run very, very much according to the rules. We still think Globevisa has the record for the fastest approval for an applicant, but we're very happy to talk to and work with your clients.
Thank you for your high praise for our team in Globevisa. And finally, Michael, what outlook do you have for the future development trend of the NZ investment immigration? And what advice can you share with potential applicants who are considering NZ investment immigration?
It's almost repeating the last answer, but it's important to get good advice. And as you know, we are very happy to work with your clients or any clients before they've made the decision, because we think it's important that they understand the investment landscape alongside the immigration requirements. We're very excited about the future for this program, and particular for Greater China. Fidelity Capital, we are opening our own office in Hong Kong. in order to help facilitate the AIP migration and in terms of being able to ensure that there's the proper funds transfer in order to meet Immigration New Zealand requirements. So we're, as they say, very bullish about the opportunity. Our economy is going through some sluggishness at the moment. So the good companies will do well. For the lines company, that is completely isolated from economic cycles. Everybody needs electricity. Everybody turns on a light switch, not so much air conditioning in New Zealand, but it's a critical industry that is almost immune to the cyclical ups and downs of an economy. So we're very excited.
And that's all the time we have for today. Michael Vukcevic, I want to thank you once again for such a wonderful and insightful conversation. Through your sharing, we have not only gained a much clearer picture of New Zealand's new investment immigration policy, but also a real appreciation for Fidelity Capital's professional and stable investment strategies. For our audience members who are planning their own overseas investment and immigration journey, I'm certain that Mr. Michael's insight have given you a lot to think about. Thank you all for tuning in, and we hope to see you in New Zealand one day. Goodbye for now.
Thank you, Ivy.
Thank you, Michael.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes.